So I think the big ones that we know about, and again, we talked a lot about it before in other webinars, and if you're on this webinar, maybe you're a little bit more familiar, but Safari, Microsoft, and Firefox, they all stopped all third-party tracking cookie years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, something like that. So that just leaves the big one in the room, Chrome, which has about a 64% market share. And they were supposed to end all third-party tracking cookies at the end of 2023. Again, as Subi mentioned, kick the can down the road. So now here we are in 2024, where about 1% of those cookies within Chrome have been deprecated. So now we're already starting to see that. But what's even more interesting is studies have shown that even though Chrome is still supporting third-party tracking cookies, a good part of users, about 40% of those shoppers, disable the cookies on their own. So if you're looking at your entire audience pool of traffic that comes to your website, we've already lost 50% of that. So you're down 50% because of Firefox, Safari, and Microsoft stopping. 1% now of Chrome. So that's about 50% left. And then if you remove another 40% of those Chrome users, they disable their browsers, then we're looking at a very, very small pool, 25, 30% of your audience that is left to market to. So that means 70% of your media audience is at critical conquest risk. So,
and I want to go back to, getting back into the cookies specifically, but just to bridge the knowledge gap a little bit, what are cookies used for today in an advertising realm? Can you talk about some of the how these third-party cookies are being utilized?
Sure. Well, I mentioned cross-site tracking. So going from site to site to site, with the script on there, the internet is sort of like in cahoots together, and they all have the tracking cookies on there, so we can gather data that way.
I knew Facebook was listening to me.
Yeah, exactly. Used for retargeting, ad serving, ad targeting, measurement, and attribution. So all of those things, cross-site tracking, retargeting, ad serving, targeting, measurement, and attribution, all use third-party tracking cookies. So if we, in the past, before the demise or the deprecation of third-party tracking cookies, then you were pretty much grabbing 100% of your addressable audience that was coming to your website. But as I mentioned, now about 70% of that audience is gone. So let's just say there's 30 to 40% left. So businesses are still spending the same amount on advertising, but they're only getting 30, 40% of the actual audience to market to. So while we're still spending all this money to drive traffic, we're losing a big part of our data, which we call the unreachables here at Full Throttle. The unreachables are those people that you can no longer reach because of cookie deprecation. So we need a way to reach the unreachables.
And even before cookie deprecation, it was always a challenge to understand, we're spending so much money, right? Business owners are spending so much money to get people to pay attention, to get eyeballs on their website. And there's really no way of communicating with them other than retargeting. Once they've gotten to your website and they leave without filling out a form. And that's what 96% of the audience that's coming to the website really doesn't engage with you. So how do we understand and stay top of mind is really where cookies come into play, because we used to utilize them for retargeting and now we can't anymore. So pivoting to this audience kind of mindset and utilizing the gold that we already have, or diamonds that we already have in our businesses, is really the mind shift, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And relying now more on that first party data. So first party data means any data from a digital property or something that you own, right? So your website, the traffic that comes to your website that you own, that's your first party data. If you own a brick and mortar business and you're collecting emails at the front desk, just so to say, that would be first party data, right? The stuff in your CRM is first party data. So that's why we need to rely more on that first party data. But we know in a lot of cases that first party data gets old, it deprecates, and that type of thing. So there's things that we need to do to make sure that we're keeping that first party data fresh and building more of it.